Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. JC here with another video on Action Taimanin. Today we're gonna talk about the supporter formations, but before we start, don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the content. So after the update, as you can see, the supporter formation changed a lot, and there's some things that you gotta know if you're gonna use this effectively. So first off, let's start by checking the supporter collection effects. So this is basically the list of all the supporters that are available in the game. When you get a supporter, you will be able to enhance the supporter in various ways, and you will be able to obtain stats thanks to that. Mainly, you get HP from increasing the affinity. Let me show you over here. Acquiring the support, maxing their level, increasing their affinity, and lastly, you get attack by reaching maximum S level. And when you do that, you're gonna get this star. As you can see, this one I have at you cannot see my S level, but I have it at S level 1, so I don't have any enhancement over here, and it doesn't have the star. Once you max this out in every sense, you will it will get a green frame, it will get the star, and it will give you all the stats. So overall, this is going to be a way in which whales are gonna get huge stats, but do not despair. A good amount of supporters are F2P. They are giving throughout events, and we receive all the copies, and that's going to increase your attack stat. And honestly, for the most part, this doesn't change most of the game. It does change the competitive aspect of the game. PvP and Total War are gonna be even more competitive, and they're gonna be higher scores, and those who have a better collection of supporters are gonna have an upper hand at this, which is bad. But PR, dailies, event, tower, everything else, it is just a boost that you're gonna get, and it's going to enhance your performance. Now, there are rewards according to the amount of supporters that you gold star. So you're gonna get collection effect bonus that is going to increase by 2%, 4%, 6%, 8%, 10%, 12%, 14%, and 16% at 200 gold stars. On the other hand, we have the number of formations, and with 25, we still have one option, but when we reach 50, we have two options available for us. Then, at 225 gold stars, we get 3 options available, and at 200 gold stars, we're gonna get 4 options available. Right now, in this moment, we do not know if they're going to constantly update this. In my opinion, they are, probably because we have all the supporters right now that are available in the game. Even Natsubasara, we just got added. So it's very likely that every update they add 2 more supporters, or whatever amount of supporters they add into the game, to the supporter collection effect. The formations on the other part are a different story. So, as you gold star these, you're going to be able to unlock formations. For example, this one requires to have Fumasaika, the SR Fumasaika, acquire at max level and max bond, and also the permanent gacha Momochi Nagi, again acquire at max level and with max affinity. Good thing, it doesn't matter the S level for these effects, and once you unlock them, you're able to equip them, and you will get the benefit on the formation. In this case, damage against super armor is increased by 20%. Many of these effects are pretty good, and in the case of which are the best, the thing that you want to do is to adjust it according to your needs. For example, let's say that I want HP for PvP. What am I going to use? Maybe I'm going to use something like Stoic but Heartfelt, which gives me 20% max HP, along with Summer Pool Cleanup and Sound of the Shadow in the Shifting Woods. These also provide 10% HP increase, along with a 10% melee attack and 10% range attack increase. So it is pretty good. There's various effects that you're gonna want to equip depending on the situation. For example, if you're on VR, right at the end, you're gonna be able to see penetration. So penetration of range attacks increased by 10%, penetration of suppressed type characters increased by 10%, depending on your team, the kind of build that you have, their offensive capabilities, etc. You're gonna want to select whichever formation applies to your strategy that gives you some kind of benefit. In VR, penetration is extremely useful. On the other hand, if you go to dailies, it doesn't really matter that much penetration. You can just equip raw damage and you will do fine. In fact, we have over here a pretty generic skill that I cannot find that gives you damage increase on dailies. For example, we have damage increase on Time of 5 VR and damage increase in daily quests by 25%. Pretty good, pretty useful. We also have the equivalent of that in the defensive department. It should be around here. Yeah, damage taken reduced in daily quests by 25%. Yeah, usually these formations require an FTP supporter and a permanent gacha supporter, but at times you're gonna see that they also require a limited supporter. Some of the best formations require limited supporters. That's why it's good to get at least one copy of each limited supporter, and for that you can use the Desire Shop if you don't want to waste your resources on this. Now, let me show you the difference between a run with and without 3 formations. So, not over here on Total War. So, I still have my score. I haven't done my runs so that you are able to see. This was an extremely lucky run with only one formation available. I was using this one, the Cannon, Warrior, and the Fortune Teller, that give me 25% damage, melee damage increase. But usually it's way less than that. Like, this is the average score that I would get. But these were the 2 first runs using only one formation, and this was the 3rd run using 3 formations. Yeah, I haven't saved it just yet, but I equipped the Librarian Girls and Making a Splash. And I'm not sure if it was the Librarian Girls. I think it was Home Alone. If I'm able to find Home Alone, this gives me 12% damage increase, and Home Alone over here give me 15% critical damage increase, but it'll also give me critical rate, so it gives me a ton of critical consistency. Pair with this one that also gives demons, which are my main attackers, critical rate and also critical damage increase. So basically I'm always critting with this, almost guaranteed, and this gives a massive damage. So yeah, that was the formation. It gives a ton of damage, and it makes a big difference. As you can see, 2 million damage difference, only that. So yeah, this is going to heavily affect the ladder for both PvP and Total War, which is unfortunate. There was already a clear difference between F2Ps and whales, and barely people who optimize everything were able to get in the ladder. Maybe the 500 first points, but now this is going to reward too heavily the whales. Unfortunately, I don't like that kind of system, because the whales don't need that much advantage. Honestly, the 4 slots should be available for every player. The stat buff, okay, they can give them that. It's not that big of a deal. But look at the ladder. Here I have the relay rewards, the relay scores, 44 million. And I'm over here with 15 million. And I haven't even finished all the relay runs. As you can see, I'm still going to increase my score even further. But, well, it is what it is. The Grammary decided to uh, you implement this change, which is good-ish. The only issue I have with it is the lock that it has on the available slots for formations. Yeah, requiring basically every single supporter max out. It's a little bit of a high toll to put the fourth slot over here. But as the game progresses, there will be more supporters, and the more supporters we have, the more stars, gold stars, are gonna be we're gonna be able to get, and this is gonna become more. I don't want to say FTP friendly, but doable. Let's say doable, because you're able to get some supporters each month with the tickets they give away, and also each month they're gonna give you basically 2 F2P supporters, which is going to enhance your stats a little bit. And as I mentioned, if they keep adding more and more and more, getting 200 stars won't be a well only thing, you know? It will be difficult for sure, but doable nonetheless. Now, which are some of the best formations that you can use? Well, it honestly depends on the kind of content that you're doing. It is different to do a build for tower, for time of 5VR, or for Total War. Yeah, Total War. Even PvP or dailies. As I mentioned, every kind of content is different. So let's talk about some of the best formations that you can equip in general. So, as I mentioned, some of the best are going to be on the attack tab and are the penetration. Those are excellent for VR. They are going to allow you to deal damage without the enemy mitigating it due to its huge amount of damage reduction. So, penetration is good. Some of these require very unique and limited supporters from different categories from the limited bracket, let's say, and some other are not as difficult to get. In fact, this one was seasonal. Getting it now is difficult, but these two are permanent. And for example, where is the other one? Yeah, this is permanent, and these two are F2P. So there's always a mixture of these. Obviously, the best ones are going to be the limited ones, but it is what it is. Then we also have over here other formations that are extremely important. There's gonna be always the trait formations. For example, if we want to support human, we have, wait, this is machine. Increase damage dealt by machine type characters. Well, that's odd. I'm going to go back and I'm going to put this one more time. Yeah, I don't know. That was a glitch, I guess. So, reduce damage taken from human type enemies by 7%. Yeah, I like the idea, but I just want attack, because attack is probably the most useful one. So over here we have the Lightning Huntress, which is going to use 2 limited supporters. That's hard, but it gives you 12% damage increase. If you don't like that option, there's always other things that you can do, like this one. Increase damage dealt by human type characters by 10% and reduce damage taken by human type characters by 6%. This is completely F2P. This is a permanent, this is another permanent, and this is an SR. So it is doable for sure. And there's also the ones that give you a demerit, but at the same time above. Increase damage dealt by human type enemies by 6%, to human type enemies by 6%, and increase damage taken from human type enemies by 6%. So select the ones that give you the most damage, preferably without a debuff. If you have to take the debuff, it's okay as long as you're able to clear the stage quickly. Now, as for machines, we have the Taimanin sisters, which is a pretty good formation. It also gives you that 12% damage increase to machine type enemies. Pretty useful. And increase damage dealt to machine type enemies by 12% and increase particle charge speed by 20%. Yeah, this one is technically better, but you need the supporter. Which, honestly, thanks to the archive, now these are easier to get, the supporter ones, the F2P supporters, but you still have to get the permanent ones. As for Demon, Demon has a very particular formation in making a splash that you want to use. Making a splash is one of the best. It's basically, where is it? Home Alone. I don't have Home Alone over here. Well, it is basically a critical rate and critical damage increase for demon type characters. Extremely useful. This is an F2P supporter, an R supporter, and a permanent gacha supporter. Not that difficult to get overall. And there's also this one, increased damage dealt by demon type characters by 12%. Again, this is permanent, and this is an event supporter. Increased damage dealt to demon type enemies. Event supporter with an SR. As you see, there's many formations that are pretty F2P. Some of the ones that have limiteds are kinda niche for the most part. There's only a couple of staples that have an actual good effect. So let's see. Over here, I'm gonna remove all of this, and I'm gonna put, for example, there's also by color if you want to enhance a specific kind of team. If you go by color, especially good on VR. Like damage of super step characters increased by 12%. Usually, the damage increase goes the flat, well, not flat, the normal damage increase goes up to 12%. Sometimes it goes to 15%, I think, in special cases. The critical damage goes way above that because you have to land a crit. So this is going to be more useful if you have a crit build. Now, another very useful formation is going to be, where is it? Over the damage increase on arena. Yeah, that's one. Where is the one that I'm looking for? Let me check. I know where it is. It has Micah. No, it has, yeah, increased damage dealt with the skills to enemies with debuff by 15%. Onigumo and Kowaru. Kowaru is extremely easy to get because usually at the start of the game you're able to get Kowaru, Amane, or Major at the very start with a select ticket, and you can get this one. It is pretty good, and this one is already available in the game for everyone since we have it on the archive. So you're able to get this 15% attack buff on debuffed enemies. So yeah, there's a bunch of good formations. It depends on the content. For VR, you can go with defensive options with penetration, as I mentioned, or damage increase. You can balance them. You can go hyper offensive, hyper penetration, hyper whatever you want. It's going to be pretty effective for the most part. Usually you don't need defensive options. And one of the best defensive options, just so that you know, is the Name of Fuma. Over here, if I go to the Name of Fuma, that gives you 20% damage reduction against enemies, against bosses. Pretty useful. Another good option is the Library Gears that give 12% damage increase and 8% damage reduction. If you stack these together, you're gonna have a ton of, I mean, not a ton, but a good amount of defensive capabilities combined with offensive capabilities. They are pretty good. So, as I mentioned, basically most abilities work on VR. On Total War, you only want offensive abilities. Something that gives you critical damage increase, normal damage increase, melee damage increase, range damage increase. Forget about penetration or anything else. You just want damage increase. Or well, that's my opinion. Tower works similarly to Taimafy VR. You're gonna want to put whichever effect benefits your strategy, and if you are getting one hit KO by the enemy, if you get one hit kill, you can just add the defensive capabilities with your other formations. As for PvP, my recommendation is to go with HP increase and equip yourself with damage reduction, either on the supporters or the Magatames. But the HP increase is going to benefit you because the meta is defensive. Another approach you could take if you want to go hyper offensive, because it's now a little bit more doable, is that you can add penetration to your team, and also you have to add penetration with supporters and weapons, and you can go hyper offensive to try to just delete everything before they can do anything. It is an option, but I haven't tested it, just so that you know. So, that's about it for today, guys. What do you think about this new feature? I mean, well, updated feature. As I mentioned, I like it for the most part. It is not too bad, especially the free attack stat for most players, because a bunch of F2P supporters are going to increase the attack. The only disadvantages is that some people didn't get the the 5 copies out of some supporters that were kind of useless, and some people burn them, exchange them, or whatever, and now they're gonna regret that, which is a shame. That's why we need ways to 5 out of 5 old stuff, F2P stuff in particular. But at the same time, I know that that can be abused, so that's why Gremory doesn't give us too many options. And yeah, and also there are some highlights to be done. There are some special supporters that are extremely difficult to get, and you probably won't get unless you get lucky in the exchange facility, like Emily, which is her own special category of supporter. There's also character release supporter like this Asuka. There's where is it? Campaign or event supporters like where is Ingrid? Where is Ingrid? The red Ingrid. This one. Yeah, which is pretty particular. We only received 3 copies of this one. Again, don't worry too much about the copies. As long as you keep playing, you will be able to get more and more copies and enhance your account. And just forget about PvP for the most part. The meat and grease of the game is the PvE. So enjoy that part. Tell me, how many gold stars do you have? How many formations are you able to unlock? Do you have 2? Do you have 3? Do you have the 1? Or are you a maximum well and you have the 4? My god, I don't know any person who has 4 of those, but let me know in the comments what you think about this, and I'll be seeing you next time. Bye.